At the end of the day, you don't need to change who you are. Yes, it's great to become and to grow, and if you care about growth, that's incredible. But you don't need to change who you are. You simply need to remember who you've always been at your core, deep at your core. Who you are at your core is someone who is whole, someone who is complete. You're already whole, already complete as you are. But when you become lost in thought, when you become so wrapped up and tied up in your emotions and the drama of the world around you, you forget your true essence. There is this constant chatter that goes on in your head, this constant noise that affects everybody, this incessant chatter that goes on. And that chatter tells us that we are not enough. That chatter tells us that we need to get to a certain destination to feel more whole, to feel more complete. That chatter says that we should have done things differently in the past, should have made a left instead of a right, should have made a right instead of a left. And it makes us feel like everything is a struggle. And that's the mind, that's the ego. When we achieve something great and we feel like it's enough, like we did a good job, our mind, our ego will tell us that there's always more to get. There's always something else that will make us feel like we're in a good spot. And that's just the ego. It just craves more. As Eckhart Tolle says, all ego is identification with form, whether that be thought form, emotional form, or physical form. Identifying yourself with form is ego. This results in a total unawareness of your connectedness with the whole, your intrinsic oneness with every other, as well as with the source. You move beyond ego when you disassociate yourself with form and connect back to pure awareness, awareness of form, pure consciousness. That awareness, that consciousness is always there. It's always present. That is who we really are at our core. Wholeness, fullness. One's ability to really recognize this, at least in my opinion, increases dramatically when we are centered, fully here, fully now in the present moment. If you meditate, you probably know what I'm talking about. The more often we meditate, so the more often we connect with the now and start developing a better relationship with the present moment, the more whole you're going to feel, because there's gaps and spaces that increase between thought when we get present, when we connect in the here and now through meditation, for example. The first time you meditate, your thoughts are going to be everywhere. The mind, the ego is going to go in a million different directions, tell you, why are you sitting here? What's the point of this? You could be doing way more productive things with your time than just sitting here and doing nothing. But the more you meditate, those gaps in between thought, because thought, of course, is going to arise, but the gaps, the spaces that occur in between thought get bigger, they get larger. And within those gaps, there's a space. That space is pure awareness, pure consciousness. And it's always available to us as you're going grocery shopping, as you interact with your colleagues at work, as you're driving your car, as you're doing your laundry or making dinner. That awareness, that consciousness is always there. But we lose touch of that awareness when we're so lost in thought constantly, when we're so wrapped up and tied up within our emotions, when we're so infused and embedded with all the drama that's going on around us. We forget that there's space behind everything, behind the thought, behind the emotion, where we could just be, where we can just be aware, where we can become free of all the discomfort that mental chatter provides us with. Because I'm sure we all feel this way sometimes. The thoughts were just nonstop. The emotions is just nonstop. All the drama, this, that, people pulling us in a million different directions, thinking that we're not good enough, thinking that we need to arrive at a certain destination to feel whole, thinking about all the shit that we did in the past that we regret, thinking about all the places that we want to get to in the future. It can be draining, but when you connect with presence, you start feeling that wholeness. You detach, you strip everything back. You no longer feel the need to control everything. And then you just rest in awareness, in consciousness, which is a great place to be. When you first get into meditation, you probably assume that your mind is just going to stop and there's no thoughts. You just sit there and there's no thoughts. But that's not what meditation is. It's just about appreciating the thoughts that come by, no longer identifying yourself with those thoughts or with the emotions that you feel, and recognizing the fact that there's space that exists within you, space in between thoughts. Your mind is always going to be busy, always going in a million different directions, chattering, mental chatter, constantly. But when you connect with who's really noticing these thoughts, the awareness behind the thought, you start to move beyond your ego, telling you that you aren't in the right place. That is when you'll start feeling that wholeness. That is when you'll start feeling that presence internally, that clarity internally. You'll start feeling more aligned instead of feeling all the feelings that you would normally feel, feelings of regret, feelings of anger, maybe jealousy or envy, thinking things should have gone a different way or that you should be in a different place than you are in right now. And this is a process, right? It's not something that you just snap your fingers and it happens instantly. Because you're giving up control, you can feel a bit unease, but it's a process. You're working through it all, right? The more times you spend in meditation, the better you're going to be at this, or the more natural it's going to be, I guess I should say. I am by no means perfect with this at all. I'm just learning this as I go. When I read things about this and I actually listen to people talk about this, it really resonates with me at my core. It really, really resonates with me. So if this resonates with you, that's great. If it doesn't, then I don't know. But chances are, if you're listening to this, it probably does resonate with you in some degree, which is great. But back to my main point. You start feeling more whole, you start feeling more complete as you are when you take a step back and notice who's the one who's thinking these thoughts or feeling these emotions. It's not the ego. There's awareness, there's consciousness here. And whenever you're going about your day or you're doing whatever, you're talking to this person, you're going throughout your just regular life, you have an opportunity to connect with this awareness, this presence internally, and start feeling that wholeness. When somebody says something that pisses you off or something happens and it doesn't go the way that you initially planned it to happen, how do you want to respond? How do you want to react to that situation? Do you want to respond with your old pattern, getting angry, getting upset? Or do you want to take a second, connect with awareness, connect with presence, connect with wholeness, connect with the new pattern, the new way that you want to operate, and then respond accordingly? Every single moment, we have an opportunity to connect with that presence internally and act and operate with this sense of wholeness and completeness, which is a very powerful place to come from. When you don't really need anything because you're whole as you are, when you're so confident in yourself, not in an arrogant way, but you're just so confident and self-assured, that's a very, very powerful place to come from and operate from. Everyone's living their life, doing their thing, and learning as they go. But if you can first connect with this awareness, this consciousness, this space within you, this presence, this wholeness, whatever you want to call it, within you, before you act, before you do anything, you become incredibly magnetic. And you start carrying yourself in a more positive way, I think. That's at least what I've noticed in my life. I can either react to the situation or I can take a second, respond, get present, connect with the one who's noticing all these thoughts and all these emotions, and then respond accordingly. And when I do that, whenever I do that, I always look back at that situation and I'm proud of the way that I carried myself there. That's a really great feeling. There is pure peace within you, free. Feelings of wholeness, completeness, like I said. And if you can connect with that, life gets more enjoyable. Go beyond ego. Go beyond the mental chatter. It's always going to be there. Connect with the one who's noticing all these thoughts, all of these emotions, instead of being wrapped up in all the drama, in everything that's going on, the mess, everything. There's a space beyond where you can step into that power. And that's a great place to operate from, like I said. It's a great place to act from. You're in alignment, you're centered. That's how you shift your vibration. That's how you really step into new levels of energy. It's just about taking that moment, being present, and realizing that you are ultimately the one who's noticing the thoughts, the emotions. You are the one that gets to observe the thoughts, the emotions, and observe what's going on. And I think if you incorporate some sort of consistent meditation into your life that helps you become fully present in the here and now, you start realizing that there is space. It's not just thought after thought after thought after thought. There's space, there's gaps, and those gaps get bigger. The more time you spend in presence, the more time you start developing a better relationship with the now. You know, when you notice that your mind is going in a million different directions, that mental chatter is nonstop, take a moment, acknowledge it, be aware of it, and then focus on what you want to focus on. Focus on who you want to be moving forward. Focus on what it is you want to focus on, because where attention goes, energy flows. Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up in the world? Connect with presence, acknowledge and notice what's going on, and then carry yourself in the way that you want to carry yourself. Redirect your attention. Focus on being present, on what is happening right here, right now, in the present moment, instead of the thoughts telling you about this is what you should do, or this is how things should have been, the emotions that you're feeling, all the drama and everything. People get caught up in that and they're miserable because they're just identified with their thoughts nonstop. You can move beyond that by noticing that you are the awareness that's seeing all of it. You can acknowledge it and just view it and then choose to move past it. It all starts with just connecting with the now, being present in the moment, being here and now. Like I said, this is a learning process for everyone. Nobody's perfect with this, but next time your mind is going in a million different directions, remember, you're not your thoughts. You're the one who's noticing the thoughts. Become aware of the fact that you are consciousness. You are the one that's perceiving all of this. You are not the thought itself. Meditating is huge for this. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Spending time consciously in the present moment where you just are being is really, really important, I think, when it comes to what I'm actually talking about here. You're going to start to feel more whole, more complete as you are, which is such a powerful place to be operating from. There's no destination you need to arrive at to make you feel more whole or fulfilled or satisfied. It comes from within. It's found within through being here and now in presence. Presence really is a tool that allows you to connect more with your true self, your most authentic self. Within, it allows you to connect with the fact that you're good as you are right here, right now. You're full, whole, complete as you are in this very moment. There's nothing we need to seek in order to make us feel fulfilled or happy. The ego is always going to make it seem like there's something else to get. Once we get there, then everything will be okay. Once you get there, there's going to be something else that you want. You're abundant, you're peaceful, fulfilled right here, right now, behind the chatter, behind the mental chatter and the labels and the emotions and the thoughts, the incessant stream of thinking. I promise, if you can connect with presence, you're going to start to feel more whole as you are right now. We all have our days. Some things are going great, some things aren't going great. Some days, you have highs, lows, whatever the case might be. When your mind is going in a million different directions at 1,000,000 miles per hour, and you're so caught up with thought, so caught up with emotion and all the drama that's going on, take a moment for presence, take a step back, be the observer, be the one who's noticing everything that's going on. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself how you want to approach moving forward, how you want to go about this situation, how do you want to go about carrying yourself, and then act appropriately. and then proceed while knowing that you're whole. You're good as you are. Presence allows us to do this. So if you haven't yet started meditating, start meditating and you'll start feeling that space within inside yourself. If you haven't meditated ever before, you don't really know how to do it, there's no real how-to, and I talk about this more in depth in a podcast recording I have called Meditation 101. And if you're from TikTok, I have many videos talking about meditation also that are shorter. But I highly recommend listening to that Meditation 101 video if you have no idea where to start. That is somewhere on YouTube or on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to these recordings. I hope you got some value out of this recording. It's not easy per se, but it's more natural than anything, I think. It's always there. Consciousness, awareness, wholeness, presence, it's always available to us. It's just about choosing to recognize it and appreciate it and be grateful for it. You know, sometimes it's not easy. Shit gets thrown in our face, things that we did not expect to have to go through, or you're going through a tough time, whatever. Like it's not always easy, but there's ways you can go about approaching handling the situations that get presented to us. I'm not saying that the problems that we face are insignificant and they don't mean anything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's ways to handle this and navigate the situations that come up with a little bit more ease. No longer identifying ourselves with every single thought that we have. Choosing to take a step back, be present, and be the observer. Asking ourselves every moment, whenever we get lost in thought or emotion, how do we want to carry ourselves? Who am I really at my core? I am whole. I am complete. I'm okay. I'm good as I am. And I choose to accept that. And then I'm going to walk forward with that confidence, being confident in myself and being confident in my ability to handle the situations that do come up. And meditating, being present, personally has really, really made such a big difference to me. And that's why I love talking about it. So like I said, I hope you got some value out of this recording. If you did, let me know. You can message me on Instagram at Presence of Being. I respond to all my messages. So if you want to have a conversation, you can message me over there, or on TikTok if you want to message me over there as well. Let me know what kind of content you want to hear from me. And I'm just grateful that you're here listening and part of our community. If you haven't left a review yet and you enjoy these recordings, leaving a positive review obviously would mean a lot, or sharing one of these recordings even. If you haven't yet got a Presence of Being hat and represented everything that we're building here at Presence of Being, promoting presence and that present lifestyle, go to presenceofbeing.co and you can grab one and represent what we're doing. All the support, all the messages mean genuinely the world to me. I say that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you again, and I will see you in the next recording very soon.